Hello everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and today I'm working on creating a cover for my pocket Bible. So what I've actually done is cut the fabric that came with the pocket Bible journaling kit, and I cut them all 1.5 inch squares. I also had this yellow because I really felt like I wanted some yellow in the cover as well. And so this was from an older kit from ByTheWell4God. And so I also cut some yellow out of this. And then I'm going to sew this all together. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to use my sewing machine. I think it might be a little tricky because of how small the squares are, but we'll see if I need to hand sew it or if I can use my machine. And then I'm going to cover it just like, you know, some normal fabric, and cover it with some glue, and I've already cut some off so it doesn't fully cover this way, but I think it'll be really cute once I have this whole quilted pattern down. And so that is my plan. I'm going to come back and kind of show you what I ended up doing with this, if I hand sewed it or used my machine, and then we'll move on and show you how I cover a Bible. Okay, so I tried it on my sewing machine and it was not going well. Plus I knew that with the seams, it would make the squares like super duper small. And so I'm not going to do it on my sewing machine. I thought about hand sewing it. However, I'm impatient and I'm not sure I want to hand sew this all, but we'll see how that goes. So I have a second thought process. I have my handy dandy little iron that I'm going to iron these and make sure they're nice and flat looking. And then I'm going to use some scrapbook.com score tape basically and see how that holds these together. And then after I score tape it, I might add a couple stitches here and there to make sure that it's held together nicely. But I think that the score tape will do the trick, but we're going to test it out. So all I'm going to do now off camera is iron these, and then I will come back maybe and show you how I'm adding the score tape to the square. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, we'll see how this goes. It might as well be time consuming, but probably not as time consuming as sewing. So let me think of how I'm going to do this. So it actually should be on the front side. Yes. Okay, because I want the seams underneath. So yeah, I guess we'll put it this way because I want that orange flower being seen. So I will put them as close to the edge as possible and then cut it. Then I'm going to take it off and then press these two together. So line them up, press them together, and then ta-da! It's almost like I sewed it. So we'll see. I will probably use my iron again afterwards and kind of lay all these down. Let me do one more, and then I will do this off camera because it's going to be kind of time consuming. Probably not too bad. So I am lining this up, putting it down, cutting it, and then I will tear this piece off and then line it up, whoop, with the pink stars. And ta-da! Anyways, so that's kind of my thought process on how I'm going to do this. We'll see how it goes. And then, like I said, I might add some stitches after, but we'll see how that works. But yep, I'm just going to make sure that that's good right there. And then I will iron this all flat again. So the seams are nice and flat and ready to be put on the Bible. So there we go. Okay guys, so I decided to speed up this process, but still show you how this was happening. You saw here I have 3 rows done, and then this is what I think is going to be my final row, but actually I have to add one more. So all I'm doing is adding that scrapbook.com double-sided tape. It's basically score tape on each edge of those squares, and then I am putting the 2 sides together and making one long strip of fabric, and it looks like it is hand sewn or sewn by, you know, a sewing machine, but in actuality it's just tape. Now, I was a little concerned that maybe it would come apart a little bit, but I think with all the glue that I put down with the cover, with the Coccoina glue, and just this tape itself is super strong, so I'm not too concerned. I'm not planning on, like, you know, messing with this Bible a ton. It's basically just going to be used throughout this kit, and so I don't think I should be that concerned. Also, using the iron with the score tape probably helped get that glue nice and gluey, so that should help as well. So right here I am just ironing everything and making sure it's flat, and then I'm measuring with my pocket Bible. Now, this seemed just a little bit too small. There wasn't enough margins on the top and bottom. So you see me here cut some more fabric. Now, we don't have any more of that green fabric because there was only a little square to begin with the Pocket Bible journaling kit. And so I'm just using all the others that I have, and you won't really notice that I'm missing the green once this is all put together. Now, obviously, this quilted pattern isn't perfect. It doesn't line up perfectly. It's just a little bit wonky, but I think that goes perfectly alongside this kit. I haven't read the kit yet, but I'm just thinking of myself and my imperfections. So anyways, I just think it kind of goes along, and it's cutesy and goes along with the florals and RVs, and think, I don't know, it doesn't need to be perfect. So anyways, I am just adding these together, making them in a line like I showed you before, and then I will add that whole line to, you know, my little quilted section I already have going on here. Now, I do have to say, if you want to recreate this look or do it in the future, my biggest, tip is to use an iron. I was originally going to try to do this without an iron because I didn't want to get it out, and I just thought it'd be faster, and the glue would hold it down flat enough in my mind on top of the Bible. But now that I started using the iron, I realized that yes, this iron is amazing and helps all the seams lay flat, and also helps you line up things a little bit better. So as you saw, I lined up that score tape down the side, and then I just line up the squares as evenly as possible. Like I said, it's wonky, it's fun, and now we're going to place this down on the Bible. So because I used so many fabrics and it has that square quilted look, it is a little bit more tricky than just having one piece of fabric that you're trying to put on a Bible. And you see me also here adding some of the anti-stick kind of powder on the fabric, because there's a couple little pieces that the score tape just kind of oozed out a little bit more when I used the iron, but it didn't, it's not sticky anymore after using that powder, so that was super helpful as well. So anyways, I am putting this Coccoina glue down on one side of the Bible at first and just pressing it down as flat as possible, and then I'm going to come to the side and the other side as well, using a bunch of glue because this is going to be a little bit harder to glue down with all those seams. So I'm just making sure that I've laid it as flat as possible and pushing it down. Now I do have a little bit extra on the outer side, and that is fine because it's better than not having enough to fold it over. So I will cut a little bit of that off, and also on the corners as well. You saw on that one edge I don't have as much to fold over, so I'm going to have to be very careful and use a lot of glue on that side. And what I try to do when I'm covering these small pocket Bibles is fold in one side and then fold the opposite side as well at the same time. But that doesn't necessarily happen with this kind of fabric because there are so many seams. It's just easier to kind of roll around and go around the corner instead of doing one side and then the opposing side. It just, however you can fold it the best with this kind of pattern, with, you know, the quilted pattern. It just makes it a little bit more tricky. And so I just did what I could basically. So I have a lot of clips on here because I want to hold it down as best as possible. And then I'm going to work on the other side. Now I do make little clips in the middle because I'm going to end up stuffing that fabric underneath into like the gutter area. I can't even think of the word that it's called right now, but I'm just gonna stuff that in underneath the pages. So that is why I'm making those little clips, almost little mini triangles, so I can fold that easier. I do have a better video describing how to do how to cover a journaling Bible or any book or Bible, but this is not a full, you know, how to cover a Bible. It's just showing you how I did it with this one because it is a little bit different. So anyways, I've moved on to the other side. I'm folding in all the corners. This side I have a little bit more leeway with my fabric, so it makes it a little bit more simple. And I'm just going to clip those corners to make sure they hold. That Coccoina glue holds really well, but it doesn't dry instantly, which is both a positive and negative. It's nice because you have a little bit of wiggle room time, so you can move stuff around, but you do have to hold it down for a little bit extra. I unfolded a paper clip so I could stuff that fabric underneath the like gutter area pages, and so I use a little bit of Coccoina glue on those fabric pieces and then just stuff it in with that paper clip, and it lays pretty flat in there and doesn't cause me any issues. I had this really fun baker's twine in my stash and it matched perfectly alongside this kit, so I decided that would be a fun way to close the Bible once it is done. But now I'm turning to work on these cover liner sheets. These papers come inside your pocket journaling Bible kit already there and prepped. They fit perfectly inside the inner cover. And I like to use Fabri-Tac glue on my inner cover because it just helps everything stay nice and tight. It also gives an extra secure glue to the inner cover corners with that fabric. So I like to use it for that special instance. You could also use Coccoina glue or, you know, any kind of glue, probably Barely Arts glue as well. But the Fabri-Tac is really sticky and dries super fast. So you have to start, you know, be very fast when you're working with it. But I think it's an excellent choice for these inner covers. I love adding these liner sheets because it really completes the project and makes it look put together and a little bit more professional. And so I'm adding my little clips to hold it secure while it is drying. And then I turn back to this cover. I want to add a little bit more. And so I grabbed this book plate from Holtz, and I found the identified devotional title on this little backer paper for, I think it was the kit itself. So, and it fit perfectly with this little book plate. And so I'm using my Fabri-Tac glue, gluing it down, waiting a second, and then I'm actually going to come in and fussy cut that white off of it. Now, if you put your scissors at a little bit of an angle, I know you can't see me right now cut this off, but if you put it at a little bit of an angle, you can get right under there and you won't see any white. So then I will add that Fabri-Tac Rubber Tack glue again to the back side. Glue this down. I wanted to make sure I had the Bible right side up. And then this little pocket journaling Bible is complete and ready to work on throughout the rest of this month. If you enjoyed this process video, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me over on Instagram at Wonderfully Made Handcrafting. I'll try to link everything I use down below in the description, and I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.